All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another technically difficult show for the Livewell. We are here tonight, guys. Yes, I know I'm not Danny. He had a last minute. He had a meeting he had to take. Couldn't make the show. Otherwise, we'd have had to cancel the show. And we've got some great guests for tonight, so we did not want to do that. So we're gonna plow on and keep it going as usual. Welcome in, everybody. We got Kevin Thornton, Father Time, with us. We got Tim McGuire, and we've got the Fishers of Hope. Tony and Kay Watkins are with us. I think they just tried to get back in, but I've not seen them pop up in the guest room here. I see them pop something. Let's see if we can get them in real quick. We got them for the first little bit of show, and we're going to talk. Guys, can you hear us? We don't have anything. We don't have anything for you guys. All right, we're trying to. We're still getting the technical difficulties, guys. James Weber, what's going on, brother? Eddie, how's it going? Doug Diaz, what's going on, my friend? Stephen Sturgeon, what's going on? Guys, welcome in. Thank you for stopping by with us. Listen, we've got our second half guest. He's in the lobby right now. Steve is going to bring a wealth of knowledge. We're going to talk co-angler, fishing. We got Tony and Kay Watkins with us. We're trying to get them in. Oh, there we go. Hang on, I got to get this pulled up, guys. All right. Let's see. Hey, there we go. We got them now. We got it. There you go. Perfect. We got Tony and Kay Watkins with Fishers of Hope for the first little bit of the show here, guys. How y'all doing this evening?
Good.
Technically challenged.
Hey, listen, it would not
welcome
be
to the club.
I was going to say it would not be a show if we didn't have something going on with technical difficulties. Trust me, I know. Y'all doing good tonight, though?
We're doing good. Hope you guys are.
I can't complain, guys. I don't know if Kevin can complain or complain, but I can't complain at all. I know, and like I said, I know I'm not the host we were expecting, but Danny was like, dude, if somebody don't host it, I can't do it tonight. So I'm glad to have y'all. I love talking to you guys, and thank y'all for, number one, doing what you do and being a show sponsor and one of the best benefit tournaments I've ever fished with you guys, Blue Ridge last year. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it tremendously.
It was fun.
Well, thank you for that.
I had just about gotten burnt out with tournament fishing, so fishing that one was a breath of fresh air. It really was. So I appreciate it a lot. So
that's awesome, because that's kind of one of our goals, is bring back to what it used to be.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit about. We'll let you guys tell us a little bit about Fishers of Hope, what it is, what it means, and then we'll get into what's coming up here in the future.
So I'll give you kind of the short rundown. Fishers of Hope started roughly 4 years ago. And it started out with a co-worker's daughter who had cancer. And one of the things I've always been a part of was fishing, so I decided to host a benefit tournament for them. With that being said, I have fished a lot of them, but I had no idea what was involved in hosting a tournament. And thankfully, I've got two great friends, Charles Young and Cole Davis. I can't say enough about them. They jumped in, showed me how to do it, and long story short, it took part from there. Our vice president, she encouraged to keep going, make it a 501c3, and we did that, and here we are today. So I also wanted to incorporate it in. You mentioned tournament fishing kind of burnt you out, and I was there at one time. It's just, I'm not going to knock anybody. I'm not, because it's a great community, but you do get burnt out, and it gets too technical, I guess. The fun gets gone, and it's a business.
Yeah.
So my goal was to make it to where it was fun, there was fellowship, but most of all, it's Christ-centered. And that's the one thing we focus on. And it's twofold. It goes to the person or organization that we're helping, where they can see Christ in it. But it also, the people you fish around, and the community and the networking. And it's just an outpouring, is a good way to put it. So that's what we do.
Well, and you do a very good job of it. And I will say, I had somebody reach out to me the other day, want me to help with a benefit for I won't say the organization just yet, because I hadn't decided what I'm doing. He's like, well, I'd like for you to host a tournament, raise the money, do this. And I went, there's no way. I have zero interest. So my hats are off to anybody that hosts a tournament, period.
It's a lot more work than you realize.
You should see our house right now. It is a mess.
It's horrible.
It's got stuff everywhere for next weekend.
I can only imagine. So, question, how many boats do we have signed up for next weekend's event?
Right now, we have 11 signed and paid. I do know of at least 3 more that I would bet the farm they will be there. And I'm pretty sure just from word of mouth, we're going to have a good turnout.
As y'all know, fishermen wait to the last minute to decide if they're going to fish a tournament or not. And it's
Absolutely.
also Easter weekend. So, if they are feeling it when they get up, I guess they come. Most people sign up the day of anyway. That's been our experience anyway.
Well, and the next thing we faced on this one was the timing of it. We're doing it Easter weekend, and some people that's good, some people that's bad. And there's so many tournaments this time of year. This was literally the only weekend we could pencil in that didn't collide with 3 or 4 others.
Right. Well, my calendar, I set it up like this. I just write fishing on all the weekends, and then the holidays just fall where they may.
Yes.
I like it.
I mean, it's just how I do it. I mean, you ask my wife, and she's like, "Yep, that's exact." I mean, I scheduled a veterans tournament. Like I was going to fish a veterans tournament. She goes, "Your nephew's getting married that day." I'm like, "Come on, what tournament?" So
Hope you have a happy wedding.
Yeah, no kidding, right? She's like, "I don't think I can explain you not being at that one, buddy." So I had to
Send a nice gift.
So
There you go.
Tell us a little bit about that tournament that's coming up April 4th.
So this tournament, we joined the Chamber of Commerce here in Blairsville almost a year ago. And one of the best things we've done as a 501c3 as an organization, the networking's huge. So the day I joined, the president, he's an avid fisherman. He sold his boat. Sorry, Kevin, but he sold his Ranger. He couldn't deal with a Ranger anymore. He wants another Skeeter. But he said that he wanted to do this. He said that he wanted to do this, and he said, same as we were just talking, he said, I don't know a thing about it, nor do I have the time. And I kind of grinned and said, well, lucky for you, we do. So we kind of went from there, and he explained what it is. So the Chamber of Commerce does this to raise money. Our chamber does an amazing job in our community for the businesses, the tourism, and just scholarships. It's endless. You wouldn't think, I didn't realize just how much our chamber did, but it's amazing. So this will raise money for them, and 50-50. It's 50% them and 50% goes. I am also on the board of the Union County FFA alumni. It's recently get up, and it's a major need. So if I do this, can I make suggestions? So the FFA alumni is actually going to get other benefits from us. So we were already in the tournament for
right.
So that's why and how we're doing.
And tell about it. Like it's going to be April 4th.
Yeah, it's going to be April
Lake
4th
Notley.
next week. Notley Lake, Beavertown Boat Ramp, for all those who's familiar with it. Typical rules. We've got raffles. We've got Underwood's donate a half-day trip. We've got some spot choker stuff. We've got some reels.
We even got like candles.
Yeah, we've even got stuff for the ladies. So, I mean, you can pick up a gift to take home.
That got in trouble because you came. You can when you got like a margarita maker.
That's good. You can't beat that.
Stuff. I mean, we got all kinds of that. And pulled pork barbecue.
Smoking it.
Yeah.
I think most of y'all had it. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There you
So,
go.
entry fees. Yeah, it's $125 unless you are a chamber. And
okay.
Chamber members. So you're part of you get chamber price. Day of is $130.
Oh, sounds perfect. So they can still sign up at the ramp, right?
Yep,
Absolutely.
we can sign up probably around, I'm going to guess somewhere around 7 o'clock is when we're going to have our meeting, national anthem, and some out prayer, opening ceremony. Well, and I'm hoping for you guys in November. I don't have a delay for it.
It's horrible.
I was going to ask if we were going to have a fog delay too. So that's
We had a lot of early morning fellowship playing bumper boats out there in the fog.
Yeah.
Hey, Hey, and you guys, your video feed's chopping up pretty good on us, but we can still hear you pretty good. So we'll keep going with that. Just I don't know if the phone position or what. I know internet seems to be it's like our show's snake bit when it comes to stuff. So, but I know for me, I had a blast at the Blue Ridge one, even with the fog delay, because I didn't take it seriously, but it was just like you said, I got to sit there and meet a lot of guys that I normally wouldn't have gotten to talk to at most tournaments. So for me, it was fun just because of that. I think a lot of us found that shallow spot right there at the marina that we didn't know about pretty quick. I know I did. I found it pretty quick. So, but luckily we were on our trolling motors, or I was. I think Tim, you ran over at full motor, didn't you?
I was easing up through there, and all of a sudden I just happened to look over, and I was like, "That's the bottom." And as I was raising it up, it like tink tink. And Rob saw me. It was one of them. I almost got by with it. I looked around. I was like, nobody saw me as I backed up and kind of eased off. And later on, he's like, "Did you hit that big flat?" And I went, "Yeah." He said, "Me too."
And it happened quick. I mean, it come up real quick.
It comes out of nowhere. I didn't realize it went that far out.
I didn't. So what's the ramp we're putting? I've never been to Beavertown. I put in at the one right across the lake from there, when Rob and I fished. So what's the ramp like? Is it pretty good size ramp? I think we lost them.
We're breaking.
Yeah,
I think it's a one boat ramp.
Was there one? Yeah, I was asking about the ramp itself. How's the ramp size? Is it pretty good size ramp, or is it lots of? All right, I think we're losing.
From what I've
on the internet.
Yeah,
from
I think
from
we're
what
losing.
I saw, I think it's a one ramp, and it's got pretty good parking. There's a sandy stretch down there, so if anybody needs to like beach the nose of the boat, so I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, they're cutting out pretty bad. So, hey, can y'all hear us at all?
I don't know.
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, you guys are cutting out. I think, I don't want to cut you short at all, but I want to make sure they can get, everything they need from it. Where can they find out more information about the tournament and Fisher to Hope?
We're going to try to go out and come back in.
All right. Sounds good. Yep. We'll let them drop out and come back in.
Tony, I pulled it up on Google Earth. I'm sure others have as well. The ramp looks pretty good, and it looks like it had a little dock beside it. And then the parking was up ways a little bit.
Yeah, it has a very big dock, but the lake's deep. So
yeah,
pretty good size sandy beach over there next to it to nose up to if anybody.
Yep.
All right, we got you one more time. We'll try again. Y'all are still choppy. Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right. We were just asking about the boat ramp itself. How big was the boat ramp, and what were the capacities there at the ramp itself?
We could probably fit.
Probably 50.
You could fit 50, but it's going to be
Okay.
So for those of y'all listening that's coming or anybody else, if you want to use a different ramp, you're welcome to do so in boat over. You will still have to do a live well check and all that, but you're welcome to use a different ramp in boat over.
Okay. Courtesy dock, all that good stuff.
The end of it might be in water now, but not how much.
I got you.
Like that.
It is.
Okay.
And it'll probably be up more
Well,
next
good
week.
deal.
It should be. And it should be some
Yeah.
good fishing.
Well,
I mean,
and
it should be just jam up.
I've already heard some big ones being caught down there, or up there rather. I just don't know where at yet. one of the gentlemen
Like
that's
2 weeks
fishing against us
ago.
here is.
I know 2 weeks ago we was told that it took 25 to win it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's insane.
That's
for not.
crazy for
That's
Notley.
insane.
That is crazy.
But Farmer says that there's some great big largemouths on Notley.
He
That's what
does,
Farmer
and
says.
this is his third strike to show me that they're there. But
Well, Rob said the same thing when we went up there. What was it? Right before Christmas or whenever it was we went there, and we went 2 months ago, whatever it was. And I'm like, we got a 17-pound striper. That was a big one. It was fun to catch.
Oh yeah.
there's some huge striped bass in here.
Yeah, we got one of those. We found a few bass, but nothing like real big. So I'll be interested to see if hopefully they're biting for us and we can put on a show. That'd be nice to see. Kevin, I hate to tell you though, but if they're catching 25 for a tournament win, for us it's going to be about 10 or 12. I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm happy with 5 fish.
Yeah, as
I'm
long as
just
I
happy
get
I'm going.
5,
Exactly.
if I can get 5 and break 10 pounds, that's a good day.
Hey,
It's a good day.
I'm telling you right now,
As long as one fish, in my opinion, it's a good day.
I will say
Yes.
the one thing I learned about that lake is them fish are skittish. I mean, that water is so clear. If you throw something in there, you better be throwing something that's not going to spook them.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. Very true. And it's
The
always
weatherman's
been that
saying-
way.
Yeah.
Weatherman's saying rain next Saturday.
I saw that. That'd
Friday
be good
and
fishing.
Saturday.
Hey, I was going to say, when it's rain, it means other people don't want to be on the water. So I'm happy with that.
Right.
How busy will Notley get?
This time of year, it will not be on.
Because it's still a little.
You're going to get a few people on the water with their ski boats and this and that, but those people are kind of veteran people and they actually do kind of watch out for you. So
Yeah,
it shouldn't be horrible.
right. Because for anybody that's not fished Notley, I've only been up there one time. That place can get real small real quick. Them channels
yeah.
up there are tight.
Yes, they do.
No, it's a lot better in the summer when the lake's all the way up, but
Right.
It's
still down pretty good. So
mid lake up it closes in pretty quick. On my end of the lake, it's pretty open, but that end it can get pretty tight pretty quick.
Yeah, we were going around some of those bends, and I was like holding on, going, "Please don't let another boat come around this corner." And we weren't going fast, but it was still scary. You know, you got a John boat that comes up through there, and he's in the middle. You're hugging a rock wall pretty quick. So
yeah, especially during those S curves.
Yep, that definitely gets me to thinking for sure. And like that, so that hopefully we don't have any fog because we don't need any fog on that lake for sure.
No.
definitely no one in there. And then obviously, go ahead, Kevin.
Tony, where should Tony Collum and I go fish?
y'all might need to talk offline.
Somewhere
You can't tell a story now. You can't tell any stories.
In the
Hey,
water.
Farmer will tell you, I say this is the Dead Sea. I'm not the one to ask.
Now we did find I know it's been a month or 2 months ago. We did find a lot of bait fish pretty close to that ramp we're putting in at. I mean, real close.
Oh, yeah.
So they were stacked in there.
And I will say that the ramp we're actually putting in at, I will just say this: there is a lot of good fishing not far from that ramp.
Yep. You're 100% right. And I would be willing to say we didn't go. The fishing we did was the fish we caught were within half a mile from that ramp at most.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was, and that's the fish we caught. Everywhere else we went through the S curves and all that stuff, it was kind of just, we caught some, but it wasn't the best out there. So, for sure. Well, are there any events in the future past this one that you got lined up?
Not planned for fishing. Well, let me say that I've got some stuff in the works as far as planning, but I don't have nothing concrete. However, with what we do, a lot of ours depends on the needs of people. So, I mean, for example, we could get a call or a text or receive word or know someone who has something go on.
Their house burnt down,
and we start planning it for no more than a month or two out.
Right.
And that's one of our missions behind this too. Is, I mean, you think about this of us a lot. I don't care how healthy you are. I don't care. You're a heartbeat away from a disaster. And
that's right.
Every day.
Nobody can really help. I mean, matter is ridiculous. I don't care how good your insurance is. You're still out of pocket, and it's still financially. But it's good to know that somebody's out there, a stranger, that says, "Hey, we care enough about you to lift your hopes up a little."
4th of July last year, we live on the lake, like right off the point where we live. A boat exploded. I don't know if y'all heard about that.
I remember that.
But we did a tournament for them about 3 weeks later, I think, and it was a great tournament. And the family, it was, I don't even know how to describe it.
We were at a ribbon cutting this evening, and a gentleman that owned the boat was there, and I mean, he's our neighbor now, and we just became best friends. I mean, and he said it was just someone to lend some hope in a time of need. And
And
Right.
he supports us so much now. If we have an event, he is like
Yes.
contributing, coming to help. And it's just being able to help someone. It's just amazing.
It is. And that's the thing
Yeah.
about our tournament. Any make, and actually probably more than 100%.
It is
We
more
put
than
a lot of our money right to us. We don't keep enough. We keep enough to operate the event itself, and that is it.
out of our
Right.
pocket
Yeah.
to sell the plates to feed, people that are there that want to buy them, and then we'll give all that money, to the cause.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Well,
Other
guys-
than that, we also do a little bit more than just fishing. In the past, when the floods hit Kentucky, we took I think it was a 26-foot truckload of supplies and at least 2 utility, just enclosed trailers, from food to supplies to water. Some may remember on the news, there was a family that he let his kids get a tree from the flood. That guy was the lady corporate office, and we helped them. And some people up there came together. They got them a home, trailers, and we come up with enough in like 3 days.
Wow. That's awesome.
I'm guessing probably next month there's an opportunity to reach out down in Lanier, Georgia. We're going to go actually minister and resources, possibly even some medical homeless community down there.
Okay. Well, good deal.
Stuff like that's not just fishing. So
well, and that's just a testament to y'all's character and upstandingness in the community, and we appreciate every bit of it. You guys are starting to break up again, but what I want you to do before we cut you loose, tell us how folks can get in touch with you and how they can donate, how they can participate, what's the best way to get in touch with you.
We have the Venmo is at Fish Hope, and the cell is Fish Ministry at Gmail.
All right. Good deal.
And C3, if anybody wants to donate, it's fully tax deductible.
Good deal. That's awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all stopping by tonight and hanging out with us. And we got you good for we got 23 minutes in there. And like I said, y'all starting to freeze up again a little bit and chop up a little bit. I think we got the Venmos and all that stuff in there. If somebody wanted to reach out as far as communicate with you, is there a email or a phone number they can reach you with?
Yep, fishersmail.com.
There you go. And guys, if you'll fast forward back to the opening credits, we have they're a show sponsor, so we've got all that information right there as well. And Tony will always answer you. Me and him DM all the time. He'll answer you. He's a super cool guy to communicate with. And again, if you get a chance, April 4th, Lake Notley, there's going to be an awesome tournament up there, and I would love to take your money.
One more thing before we go, I do want to say I'm the best thing to do. The networking from you guys alone, the support you guys give us, the views personally I became.
Yes, sir.
Sure that it's going to pay. Talk to Danny, talk to the guys.
We appreciate that. And we appreciate y'all. Don't know how much we appreciate y'all. And I'm glad to be able to come up there, and I will make that trip every time I can for sure.
Look forward to seeing everyone of you again.
Yes, sir. Kay, y'all have a good evening. Tony, have a good evening. Thank y'all for stopping by.
No problem.
See ya.
See you, Tony. Hey.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, we had them just for enough time. I think we got most of the important information out there that we want to make sure. Listen, again, April 4th, Notley, Deaver's Boat Ramp. Get in touch with, Miss Kay or Tony Watkins, fishersofhope@gmail.com. Again, it's at the first of our credits. If you need to contact them, get in. We're going to bring in our next guest, Mr. Steve McGrogan. I think I said that right. We're going to bring him in, and we're going to talk some fishing. How you doing, sir?
Hey guys, how you doing?
I can't complain a bit. Can't complain a bit. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for hanging out while we had our first guest on there. I know we get some good information from Tony and Kay, and they put on a really good benefit tournament, so I was glad to have them on. But man, everybody wants to talk fishing too, so that's another thing we're going to do today. This man right here, listen, Danny sent me the email of stuff for Mr. Steve here, and there you've got some great accomplishments on your resume. And I don't want to chop it up too bad, but we appreciate you stopping by. So we're going to start off. We're going to make it easy on everybody. Tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Well, first off, thanks for having me on tonight. I really appreciate it. I've been a longtime listener and never called in, just a couple of text messages into you guys. Never thought I was going to be online with you guys and actually be, my video and so forth here. So it's not necessarily a dream come true, but I absolutely love it and appreciate it so much. My name's Steve McGrogan, and I've been fishing all my life. I think I was born to fish. I grew up in the Maryland area outside of Baltimore, and I learned to fish on the Chesapeake Bay, Potomac. A lot of fishing on small ponds and lakes, and a lot of shore fishing. Right. And man, I've been all over the U.S. for jobs and all that kind of stuff. Did some tournament fishing back in around 2000 or so, up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Got me up on Lake Erie and so forth. I moved to Texas. Man, I did Sam Rayburn and so forth down there. And then about 2011, I moved out here to Atlanta. I took a long hiatus away from fishing, and it was for a good reason. My son was big time into motocross. We were big time motocross racers for about 12, 15 years. I almost completely stopped fishing. And I got back into it a few years ago, and a lot has changed. And I think my story has to do a lot with just in the last few years, catching up with everybody and figuring out what the newest, latest, and greatest stuff is, and learning how to just go back out and fish again. And that's been one of the greatest things that I've found in my life that I missed for so long. So yeah, man, that's me. I love to fish. I live out here on Lake Allatoona. Every chance I get to go out on a boat or out on the water, I do it. And, I think it's the best thing in the whole wide world for me.
There you go. So I got a real quick question. So you had a long hiatus in fishing, as did I. I took about 20 years off of not fishing regularly, a little bit here and there, but nothing major. And you said, a lot had changed. And you're right. When I got back into it, a lot had changed. But do you find yourself going back and looking at older stuff and going, it still works just fine, and maybe we're getting ourselves too wound up about the things that have changed a little bit?
I think both ways. I think there's some things that are fantastic. I mean, the technology and the reels and the rods and so forth are heads and tails above what we had back in the 80s. I mean, my first bait caster I bought in 1986. I remember the date. It was actually July 27th, 1986. And I had enough money that I had saved up in order to buy it out of my Bassmasters catalog. It was like the biggest expense I ever made at that point in time in my life. In some cases, yeah, there's technology is completely different. I actually still have that reel. On the other side, man, I'm still using a worm. I'm still using a rubber plastic purple worm, and it catches fish left and right. I used to use a man's auger tail. I wish I still have it. Man's auger tail is basically like the culprit is right now. Yep. So there's a lot of things that's changed and some fantastic technology out there. But there's a lot of things that have not changed at all. There's still little green fish out there swimming around, and you got to find a way to put something in front of their face that they want to eat or get mad at to bite at. Right.
And the big thing with saying that is, like, your recent really big accomplishment was as a co-angler. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, there's a lot to go into it.
Let's dig in.
All right. Let's do it. This experience has been something I hadn't really expected to jump into. A couple of years ago, I really wanted to get back into the fishing, and I'll talk a little bit about Marietta Bassmasters and how I hooked up with them. I'll talk a little bit about the GBF in a few minutes, but I think you want to hear a little bit about this whole co-angler piece. I joined Marietta Bassmasters, and for a lot of reasons, and I want to talk a lot about that tonight. But specifically, the co-angler angle on this was important to me because I wanted to learn more about fishing. I wanted to learn about what the technologies and what people were doing. I had gotten to a point where I'd been fishing for a year or two, and I kind of hit a plateau. I could go out, I catch a couple of fish, I'd catch 2-pounder, maybe every once in a while, 3-pounder. But I would look at tournament results, and not that I didn't really want to be in a tournament, but I said, I can do better than this. And I wanted to learn. And when I talked to Marietta Bassmasters and they accepted me in, and I really want to talk about that story a little bit more, but the idea was, I have a boat? Do I want to be a boater or do I want to be a co-angler? And I was convinced, and it was the absolute right choice for me, to spend a year in a co-angler position and learn. And that's exactly what I needed to do, and what I've been doing, and what I'm going to continue to do for the rest of this year too. And I've gotten to go out there and fish with so many different people from so many different walks of life, learning so many stories and learning all about different techniques. And everybody has a different style. You sit in the back of that boat, and for 8 hours, you watch somebody fish. There is no two people that do it the same that I have sat in a boat with. And that's been one of the best experiences for me, and why, I've made a big jump in where I'm at right now.
I got you.
So that was absolutely important to me. And I guess the pinnacle of that was this tournament this past week, which was the perfect set of circumstances that brought me into the winning circle.
Right. So did you notice any, because you said it was the best decision, did you notice any difficulties at all? Because I've considered doing the same thing, because I'm like you, I jump out there on the boat, I can go catch a bunch of fish, have fun doing it, but I feel like I'm leaving something on the table, or maybe I'm not learning, because I'm learning at my own pace base. I'm teaching myself everything, or what, YouTube or something shows me. But was there any difficulties going from operating the boat, doing it yourself, to being the co-angler?
I tell you, the one thing that I had to learn was just to be adaptive, because one guy might want to go out there and spend some more time dragging rocks on a point in 20 feet of water. The next guy is going to want to pound the bank. Next guy is going to go find brush piles, and just to learn to be adaptable with them. And that's probably the biggest thing. And that's helped me, to be honest with you. But it's also the biggest challenge. The other piece that's been really important to me is when you go out there with them, and when it's a tournament time, I go in with a different mindset. I go into the mindset of, hey, how can I help you? Talking to the boater. And that's real important, because when you start off like that, it's, all right, this person on the back of the boat will fish the way that I'd like them to fish. Right. Let's try something a little bit different. I'm throwing something on top water. What are you going to throw? You're going to throw something, like a jerkbait or something like that, or vice versa. Drag some worms. Let's see what's going to happen, what's going to bite, and be cooperative like that. And I think that's been a big thing as well. So, I was apprehensive, to be honest with you, to answer your question, to be the co-angler and, lose the control and be in front of the boat and knowing where you're going to go and have a plan. On the flip side, I didn't really have to come up with all the decisions, or at least not the first decisions of the day. I don't have to worry about the boat starting and the motor going and the trolling motor breaking and the battery dying and the pump breaking and all of those types of things. It takes a lot of that type of stress away. All those little things that happen, and help you focus on fish. And I can sit in the back of the boat and I can just fish. I'm not looking at a screen. I'm not breaking my neck watching forward facing. Yeah. I have my line in the water and I'm making cast after cast after cast, and that's fishing. And so that's really where I'm at.
So you got to go fishing. Yeah, you got to go fishing. That was the biggest thing. You were just fishing. So
yeah.
That makes 100%. I mean, this makes the most sense for me. And guys, real quick, Miss Kay Watkins got on here and she said they forgot to say there's a guaranteed $1,500 for first place and $500 for big fish. So I wanted to throw that out there before we got too far along. Sorry about that, guys. Messick Outdoors has a question for you, Steve. He wants to know, did you see any herring spawn, shad spawn in the lower end of Clark's Hill? They were schooling in front of Dorn Sunday morning. Do you remember seeing any shad spawn when you were fishing?
So I didn't see any of it. I saw some dimples in some of the pockets. So I'm thinking there was something that got started in a couple of areas, but that was only on pre-fishing on that Saturday when it was good and warm. Other than that, I didn't see anything, any spawn at all.
Gotcha. So going back to your co-angler, getting started with that, you mentioned that you came in with the mindset of telling the boater, hey, how can I help you win? And do you think that, I guess let me ask it this way. Did you perceive any, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot because I know you fish with a lot of great guys. Did you perceive any maybe kind of apprehensiveness from the boater side of it with having a co-angler on the boat, and that helped break that ice? or is that just something you decided to go with right off? You went with that mindset right off the bat?
I learned to go with that mindset in the club fishing. You know, in the club, we're friends first,
Right.
we're sportsmen second, and we have a lot of you know, no, we get along very well. So going out with that, trying to help that guy is important. Going into the GBF, it's a little bit different because I'm not really competing against the guy in the front of the boat because he's competing against all the other boaters. I'm
Right.
competing against all the other co-anglers. And what I found is that there's a dynamic that says, boater, they want to win, but there's a feather in their cap if their co-angler does well also. So in that case, helping them win, it was a win-win type of a situation in my case. You're not competing against the guy in the front of the boat. And, you know, there was no question with the guys that I fished with, hey, let me help you out with netting this fish, or, you know, let me talk about what I'm seeing here, seeing there, or I think we should go here or there. There wasn't any real competition. So that made it super easy in the format that the GBF put on this past weekend.
That's good. That's awesome. So we'll get into the fishing side of it now. I will start off with that tournament itself. What patterns and what was your main way of fishing? Because again, you're fishing as a co-angler, so you have to make certain decisions based on what the boaters do and not doing. So what patterns and what layouts did y'all come up with during your tournament that helped you succeed in claiming that trophy?
So I'll tell you a little bit of the longer story on that one, so I get a good picture. Our bass club decided to do a tournament there the week before. So we had a tournament there the Saturday before this GBF, and I got to go pre-fish the Friday before that. So I got a pre-fish Friday before, saw some fish, tried a bunch of different things, went in and did the tournament, and I totaled 5 fish, 6 pounds. Okay, so I was fishing points, I was fishing ditch fish, I was fishing, you know, rocks. We tried some shallow, we tried umbrella rigs, we tried worms, and really I had a jerk bait bite that worked for me, and a worm bite that worked for me, and some umbrella rig. And that was mainly between, what I say, Cherokee and Amity, is where we focused on that day.
Okay.
Fast forward, we had a opportunity to spend some time on Saturday to do some pre-fishing and a little bit of time on Sunday. And I got the chance to fish with Brent Tullis. Brent is a member of Marietta Bassmasters, and he's like a 6 or 10 time GBF champion. He's a real hammer in our club. We've got a few of those guys in our club, but he's probably the most awards. So I got to pre-fish with him, and he changed some things up a little bit, and we went and found some dirtier water, and we were finding some shallow fish and focusing on some rock. And I was like, oh man, this is where I think the fish probably are going to be. And we picked up a couple of nice ones on Saturday. We went back out on Sunday. We changed things up, and we really had a little bit of a challenge again that morning. Not really sure what was going on. We tried to run some brush piles, tried a completely different pattern. So we really tried everything from underspins and Kitex, tried a little bit of top water. We found some fishes in ditch. We basically decided that these fish are just kind of in pre-spawn, sitting in the ditch, ready to move up. But some of the big ones are going to be in the shallower area. So that was the thought process. And on Sunday, when we got together for the rules and given all the boat assignments, I'm sitting there. I had no idea who I was going to be fishing with. I could be fishing with a forward-facing guy. I could go fish with somebody that was going to go up to find dirty water. I had no idea.
Right.
So the first guy I get for the day one, which is Monday, found out he was a great guy. I didn't know him from anybody before this. Fellow by the name of William Rader. And he's at a Two Cities bass club, and he was local. And I said, all right, how are we going to go fish tomorrow? And he said, well, we're going to go junk fishing. And his wife is there, and she's all excited, and said, it's a great guy, but he said junk fishing. And I wasn't really sure what junk fishing really means. That to me, that means one thing, and it probably means something else to somebody else. So when I'm going to go do that, I have a little backpack with lures, and what am I going to put into it? And, you know, I think there's some fish shallow. I think there's some fish up there in the dirty water, but I'm not really sure where we're going to go. We get into the boat that next morning. And he goes, all right, well, we're going to head up to the dirty water. I'm like, yeah, this is great. This is exactly where I want to go. And we start heading up Little River, going up past Amity and the bridge. And we're going back up into there. And it's like, yeah, this is really what we want to do. And he starts fishing some areas I had no idea existed. This man, he found some rock piles that you couldn't see. And it was just truly amazing that he knew this lake. And it was the perfect storm of, you know, finding the right guy to go fish the right areas that met with some of my patterns that I had before. And he was a local guy. He's fished this lake. He fishes all the time. So it was the perfect guy for me to get hooked up with. And he has a little bit of an older boat, had a 90 horsepower, I think, on the back of it. And we go all the way up the river, finding some of the dirtiest water we could find. And we were catching some fish, and that turned out to be a really good day. And that same, on Sunday, there was the second guy that I was going to fish with was on Tuesday. And that man was just as cool. And it turned out, again, perfect storm of things happened for me. Fellow by the name of Arlie Caudell. He's also from Twin Cities, our two cities, best friends with William Rader, and he's going to fish the exact same way. And they're both calling each other hammers. So I'm like, man, this is fantastic. I'm going to be fishing with two guys fishing the area of the lake that I want to go fish. And, you know, these guys know this lake. I could have gotten paired up with just about anybody, but those two were, for me, in the situation of the fish that I was focusing on, and knew that I could get 5 of the right bites or 3 of the right bites. That's where the fish were, these guys were going to go after. So it worked out to be a great situation for me. And it was a perfect storm.
Gotcha.
Being as a co-angler.
So you kind of, guys, if y'all got questions, please jump in. I'm just going off here. So if y'all got anything, please jump in.
I got one.
Go for it.
Fishing as a co-angler, and we get this question a lot. How many rods and how much tackle are you taking?
I will take 5 rods. It's usually either 3 spinners and 2 baitcasters, or vice versa, depending upon the type of water and the type of fish we're doing. In this case, I brought 3 baitcasters and 2 spin casting rods. We found some fish on, in this case, we found some top water lures. So I had a buzzbait tied on, I had a Kitech tied on, had a crankbait tied on, and a jerkbait tied on. As far as tackle goes, this is my bag. See, I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, this is my bag.
Okay.
And so that goes on one shoulder, 5 rods and a life preserver, and a plastic bag with a couple of drinks and a sandwich. And usually the guy has somewhere to put a jacket or something like that. The rods sit basically on my lap. And one of the tricks that I learned is I keep all of my lures wrapped up in one of these little plastic controllers, and I wrap the rods, because all these rods are going to be sitting on top of each other. And it's so frustrating when these rods get tangled, and you could be sitting there for 5 minutes trying to untangle it. But I just keep the rods right here on my left side, and the 4 or 5 rods that I have there stay right there the whole time. And you got to be you got to be efficient with it. And my box, you know, I have a box with some hard baits on it. I got a box with some worms. I got a box with jig heads and the hooks, and a couple of other things, and that's about all you get to take.
Right. That makes, I mean, you know, you actually touched on this a little bit earlier. You talked about you didn't know what to pack in your bag. So let's go into that a little bit as far as how you decide on pack out. Do you pack out per day, or do you have like just a kit that you're carrying with you the whole time? Because I'm bad about overpacking. I'll take too much crap with me.
So yeah, I spend hours on this, and it's one of the most frustrating things. So I have my boat on Allatoona on the dock, and all my gear is in there. And so I'm going to go do a fish co-angler, and I'll go into my boat and I'll pull everything that I think I might use. And I end up pulling 3/4 of the crap out of my boat and put it into my car. And that's what I take. And I put some of the standard stuff. Whoever I'm going to pre-fish with, hey, we're going to focus this, we're going to focus that, and I'll put some of that stuff in there. And that's where I base it out of. My pack changes day by day.
Okay.
My pack will definitely have the shaky heads and some of the hooks and stuff for Nico and wacky rigs and stuff like that. I'll swap out worms. I'll swap out Senkos. I'll swap out hard baits. I'll swap out buzz baits and so forth. There's days when buzz baits aren't in my bag. There's days when spinner baits aren't in my bag. So you got to be efficient with it. But I try to cover the water column is how I think about it. Are we going to go deep? Are we going to go mid column? Or are we going to go real shallow? And I try to make sure I have something for each of those. And in the club, I have a pretty good idea of how guys are going to fish. Are they going to fish kind of fast? Are they going to fish kind of worm and Carolina rig? And I'll kind of cater it to that. But this week, Monday, Tuesday, it was the draw, and I didn't know how each day was going to go. I mean, the guy on Tuesday, Arlie, he said, "Well, we're going to crankbait fish," and I was like, "This is great. This is what I've been catching them on. Let's go."
There you go. So what days? Because you mentioned a couple weekdays there. What was the schedule, and what was it this last weekend?
Yeah, so the tournament was this past week. The Monday, Tuesday was the tournament.
Okay.
So it was a 2-day tournament. I drove out there on Friday night, met up with the club guys at the VRBO, had a great, get together with the guys, talking about fishing, talking about what we're going to do. We pack out, leave out Saturday morning, do some pre-fishing, come back Saturday night, do the same thing again, hang out, talk fish. I mean, it's fantastic. Everybody's got that same love and passion for fishing. And you get to sit there and hang out with them all day long. Do a little bit on Sunday morning, and on Sunday afternoon, I think it was 2:00, we had to be off the water. We were off the water well before that, and then did the rules meeting Sunday afternoon, and then Monday, Tuesday was a 2-day tournament.
Gotcha. Now, I'm sure in the club tournament scene, you're fishing like a Saturday or something like that most of the time, right? And then this was during the week. So did you notice, like, was the fishing better during the week and not having to fight with the weekend traffic, or would you say the weekends are better sometimes?
And if we were talking about Allatoona or Lanier, I'd have a completely different answer. Clarksville, I was absolutely shocked at the amount of boats, because I'm used to Allatoona, I'm used to Lanier, and I'm used to that boat traffic. Clarksville was, I didn't see a whole lot of boats. We were practicing the week before, and, we fished on that Saturday, and there was the Pro Bass tournament that was out there, and that was supposed to have, 50, 80 boats or something like that. And I noticed boats out there, but you could go up to most places and find a bank to fish.
Right.
You could find some rocks to fish. That Clark's Hill was so big that you had tons of place to go fishing on the weekend. But yeah, Monday and Tuesday, it was 42 boats that launched on Monday and Tuesday. And yeah, you could see 3 or 4 here or there, but nothing like you would normally see on an Allatoona or a Lanier. That part was absolutely fantastic. You certainly didn't have, any of the wakeboards. You didn't have any of the big boats. You didn't have the pontooners. You didn't have the Sea-Doos and whatnot getting all in your way. So that part was fantastic. There's a little bit more traffic on Saturday, Sunday, but it was nothing compared to what we see around here on some of the local lakes.
Gotcha. Messick wants to know, were you able to make the buzzbait work at all?
Yeah, I threw the buzzbait. I got 2 hits on it up shallow in the same places that I end up catching my big fish on. That was a bite that only happened early in the morning. We did our launch somewhere around 7:00. By about 8:15, 8:30, just would not get a bite on top water anymore. And that was pretty consistent with most of the guys I talked to.
Yeah. So you may have already said it and I may have missed it. What did you catch most of it? Like if you had to say, I caught most of my fish doing this, what was that? Or did it just change all the time? Like you just mentioned?
No, I tell you, it was all around the spawn. It was all around pre-spawn fish, going up shallow. And my number one bait was a square bill crankbait, KVD 1.5.
Okay. You gonna tell us the color? He's like, I'll show you everything.
I never got to do this before. I get to put my hand here and show it like that.
There you go. There you go.
That
Ooh,
was
I like
the biggest bass was caught on that one, and the most were caught on this one right here.
Okay.
So
now, did you notice, like, was there a key difference? Was there a key difference why you would change the colors that you noticed that you picked up on, or just you kind of 50% here, 50% there with the color?
So what I noticed was the darker the water, the more red that I wanted to use.
Yep.
I also would swap it around a little bit. If I wasn't getting bit on one, I'd throw the other one for a little while. And I don't know if it was the spot or the time of the day or exactly what it was, but I think in general, colder and a little bit darker was red. Sun up, a little bit warmer because Monday was a warmer day. This is the one that worked.
Yep.
And that one got 8.6 pounds out of 3 fish. And this one right here on Tuesday got 9.9 pounds. It was almost 100% red on Tuesday and that more orange color on Monday. And the difference between those 2 days was significant. On Monday, it was a warm day. It was a high pressure system. We're talking blue skies. Yes, there was wind, but not much. But I think we hit 80 degrees or something like that out there on the lake.
Right.
On Monday night, we got a good cold front come in. We got up Tuesday morning and it was cold. It was 50 degrees or something like that. Water temperature had changed. Surface temperature really did change. Wind was gusting 25, sustained 12, 15 white caps and so forth.
Nice.
And it was it was a little bit of a challenge. And that day the bite didn't start until about 10:30. Both days, bite didn't really start until 10:30, and I had a window between 10:30 and about 12:30. And literally the fish, it was bang, 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 and then the day was done.
Really?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. So going back to those two crankbaits, and I'm kind of asking, I guess I'm asking just because, what made you decide those two colors? Like, I mean, you're going into this tournament. I know you got to pre-fish it a little bit, but what told you, okay, I'm gonna, and this is for somebody that may not fish a lot, and they're going, I've got all these, magical colors that I can choose. My wife's famous saying, well, the package says the bass love them, so they must love them, right? So
Right.
what told you to go with those two particular colors to start with when you're first starting to go on that tournament?
So the pre-fishing, like I said earlier, I got to fish with Brent Tullis, and like I say, he's a hammerer at the Marietta Bass Masters, and we share some information. And he's been doing this for years. He knows Clarks Hill, and he's like, man, Steve, I'm using this red, and I'm using this kind of this orange root beerish color, Fire Tiger without the green. And those are the ones that I've been having some success with. And I tried a couple of different ones, and it turned out to be some of the ones that he was using, the ones that I had the most confidence in. So it's absolutely, I give Brent 100% of that knowledge, and that's had to do with experience. So I'm assuming that that's a year over year type of thing. However, like I said, one day versus another day, it was different. And it was just my gut feeling. I said, look, I need to start throwing this red.
Right.
The water's colder. Things have changed up a little bit. I really think the red's going to be the way to go because I feel like it's colder, the redder it needs to be, the darker, the redder it needs to be.
And I think that's important for, a lot of, obviously in today's, dynamics of fishing, whatever you want to call it, with a forward facing sonar and however you feel about it, whatever, but that the older generation, no offense, Kevin or myself or Tim, I mean, we're all older, right? But not forgetting that there's still a wealth of information to be garnered from every fisherman out there that's been doing it a long time. There's still a lot of information because, I mean, like a lot of guys would have gone out there and I'm guilty of it, going pecking away at something and go and have a buddy go, you should be throwing XYZ. And me going, well, I'm going to go do it my way. And then, you took something that somebody had experience with and went out there and dominated a tournament that, just doing it, like I said, just taking somebody's history and using that history. So I think that's a really good statement for that. That really works really well. I like it.
Yeah, it had everything to, I mean, I wouldn't have had that experience if I wasn't in, the club and fishing with Brent. And, that is really the key, the difference between today and 2 years ago. I didn't have a friend like that. I wasn't in a club like that, and I wasn't fishing with those guys. And that type of information, we literally fish as a team,
Right.
and that information is shared, and it's freely shared
Yeah.
between each other. And and I asked Brent before I got on the call today, hey, can I show him your sauce here? And he goes, absolutely. It might change next year, so go right ahead.
And that's a comment we get a lot. I've got some friends that I fish with and stuff, and you have people in the industry that won't share anything, that they won't tell you the direction they're going, much less the bait they're using or whatever. And I fish with a guy like that, and these guys know it. But the freedom to willingly share information, because I'm not worried about you as a fisherman. I'm just worried about catching fish. You know what I mean? That's huge. So with that, because you talk about the club a lot, and that's a huge thing. How important is the club to you, like the club fishing itself? Because that seems to be where you've got a lot of information. You just said you built your network through the club fishing. So how important is that for you? And should it be important for other fishermen that are going out there to do it?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about that story, and I appreciate that question.
Yeah.
The club has become really important to me. In fact, it's something in my life that I didn't know I needed that I can't live without now. I'll put it to you that way. Like I said, I was kind of stagnant. Yeah, I learned a lot from Bill Payne. Learned a lot from Jimbo, Kevin Underwood, and I paid money to go out there with the guides and so forth, and I learned from you guys and so forth. But I tell you, the ramp of information that I've learned in the short time that I've been part of the Marietta Bassmasters has been absolutely incredible. On top of that, I now have friends that I didn't have before that share that same passion for the sport that I love. And, I live and breathe it. I can't stop thinking about it. And that's exactly the way these guys are. And they're a great group of guys. They're sportsmen. They look out for you. We had a guy, have an issue with his boat. Everybody comes and helps him out. We had another guy get a hook stuck in his hand during the tournament last Saturday, and he posted up, "Hey, I need some help." Here we are right there, and we use the braid trick to yank the hook out of his finger and say, "All right, go fishing." That type of support, that type of sharing of information is important. But I tell you what really changed it for me was we went to West Point, and we had a 2-day, and we have two days a year. And that's an opportunity to spend basically all weekend with this group of guys. And I got pretty close with those guys as far as fishermen and sharing that passion, and just an opportunity to do something different that I haven't done in a really long time. And it really meshed with me, and the group really meshes. And I recommend it for anybody who is at that point where you might be looking for a partner to go fish with. You might want to learn a little bit more. You want to get some more advice from someone else. You want to go tournaments on a monthly basis. You want that type of support out there on the lake. And I think it's really important because I did a lot of fishing by myself. I did a lot of solo fishing, and that's fine. I had a lot of fun with it, but it's a whole new world that I found, and it's all because of that group. I wouldn't have been in the GBF without that group.
Right.
I reached out to Tony Reinhardt, who is the president of Marietta Bassmasters last year. I said, "Look, Tony, I don't really want to be a tournament guy. I really don't want to be, the hammer or something like that. I want to learn how to fish better. I want to meet somebody to go out fishing. So I'm not fishing by myself. Can you do that? Is this club the right place for me?" And he goes, "Absolutely." And that's exactly what I get. I get one meeting a month with these guys. And it's a Zoom meeting or something like that. And there's not really any big time constraint or anything like that. Then we go out and we fish a tournament every month. And it's not for major money, but it helps pay dues if you win or something like that. But you learn, and you get together with the guys, and you share information, and we try different things out. And it's been absolutely tremendous for me. And like I said, we've got guys that have gone to GBF Nationals. We have guys that have gone to GBN. We have guys that have been fishing in these waters for 10, 15 years. And they're just a wealth of information. And when you're part of that group, they share it with you. So
There you go.
it's been it's been life changing in a way. I don't want to say it the wrong way. It's been a really important thing for my world.
Well, that says a lot, because I'm guilty. I stepped away from a club. They were a great group of guys. I just got burnt out on tournament fishing. It was one of those things I was like, I don't want to do this much anymore. I want to take a break from it. But then I started back fishing with other people this year. And Eric LaRue, who's in the comments, he and I fished together. And I found a new love for fishing with somebody else that I didn't have when I was fishing. I was trying to tournament fish. I was donating is what I was doing. So I think it's a good, that you found a good club that really works well with you. And Eric has a good question along with that. It kind of goes with club, but plus being a co-angler or whatever. Have you ever found a boater you just can't get along with?
I don't think I've been doing it long enough to really answer that question. So far, no. I've been lucky. I've been Marietta Bassmasters. Those guys, everybody's been fantastic to fish with. And I got real lucky at the GBN, the TBF, and had two hammers that were local that were just fantastic guys. William Rader was, I got to know a lot of his story. He's a CNC manufacturing guy. His beard was down to his belly button, just salt of the earth type of guy, and he just wanted to go fishing. Next guy, got to learn about him. This Arlie, this major in the Air Force, retired NSA guy, completely different guy, but still had the same type of passion in fishing. And these two guys I'll keep in touch with, and if they ever come up here to Allatoona, I'll take them out fishing and give them a place to stay and everything else. So no, I haven't. I've heard some horror stories, but I think it has a lot to do with, how you walk into it, and what your attitude is. And like I said in the beginning, hey, how can I help you? And I think that changes the whole dynamic in the beginning of the day. Changes the dynamic in the beginning of the day when you show up on time and you show up with your equipment and you're ready to go, and you know how to back a boat in and drop a guy off safely, efficiently, and they don't have to do anything except for drive the boat. Same thing at the end of the day. I think that goes a long way too.
There you go. And JP Vern outside wants to know, will a boater generally take any advice if you know the area?
I have had experience with every boater so far that will listen to advice, will listen to what you had to say. It might not be first thing in the morning. It might not be the first 2 or 3 spots, but if you're on the fish and it's their pattern, they're going to keep running it. And just stay on the back of the boat and keep catching fish. So there's no reason to say anything. You have a challenge day. They might be frustrated a little bit. They might start second guessing some of their stuff. And I'm sitting in the back of the boat and so, well, I was here before and we might have done something over here or that. And, they'll listen. And, in the case of the guys that know the lake there at Clark's Hill, both of them, ran into a situation where, hey, what else am I going to do? Because we weren't really running as shallow as the pattern that I wanted to run. So it took a couple hours and, we got to that point, and next thing you know, we started running that shallow pattern, and here it comes. These big ones start coming out and biting our lines.
So what was your big fish for the 2 days? What each day? What was big fish for that day each day?
They were both over 4. Day 1 was a 4.2. Day 2 was 4.12.
So y'all were on some good fish then. That's good. That's really good.
The bite that we were on was a big fish bite. We weren't getting the bucks. The crankbait, we had to have this 1.5 touching rock. If it wasn't touching rock, you weren't getting bit. And as that thing was hitting rocks, bang bang, stop it. If it hit a good hard rock, start up again, and that's when you got to hit. It was really just making sure you're crashing in the rock every time. And that's where they were. They were in less than 3 foot of water, and that's when they were up from the deep, up ready to eat, and were willing to eat a crawfish or whatever this thing looks like to them.
It's amazing that sometimes if you're not crashing the bait into the structure, it's like they don't hit it. Yep. And I remember being little, and they're like, "Oh, don't bang into stuff; you'll scare the fish off." And I'm like, "No, it's kind of quite the opposite sometimes. If you're not hitting it, they don't seem interested."
Exactly.
So this one was a brand new one at the beginning of Sunday morning, and it got beat up pretty good. So fish ate it and so forth. It held up, but it banged a lot of rocks.
I don't know about y'all, but when I reach in the tackle box, if I got one in there that looks like that, I'm picking that one up first and tying it on before I tie the brand new one on anyway.
Keep slinging it.
Keep slinging it. Yeah.
I've had
this,
I've had Rapalas that were cracked or rock crawlers that are cracked, and I'll still throw that one before I'll throw a brand new one. I don't care.
Right.
All right. So real quick, Kevin, what you got, buddy?
I just want to know what kind of boat he's got and what color.
I have a 2003 Gambler Intimidator.
Okay.
It is black and white. It's the standard Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt looking color, the number 3 good wrench looking. And I just put a brand new 250 on the back of it in December. Brandon at Baycheck Marine put that on the back of the boat.
How long you had the Gambler?
This Gambler I bought in 22 when I started back fishing. My first Gambler I bought in the early 90s and had that for about 10 years. And I do have a second Gambler that I'm refurbishing. It's a 1994 center console. And I'm going to do something special with that one.
There you go. I bet that Gambler gets motivated with that 250 on the back of it, doesn't it?
It will.
I think it'll wake you up.
I just wanted to know what to look for out there in tuna.
Yeah, there you go.
I knew where you were going with that, Kevin. Kevin will be like, "Hey, I know this guy."
There you go.
If you know what color or what boat they're running, then it's easier to come up on them. Some guys don't like you to pull up on them,
Oh yeah, they get
I'm sure
nasty
Steve
about it.
wouldn't mind.
Come
That's
up
for
and say hi anytime. It's the Gambler sits in the water differently than just about every other boat. So you're welcome to come up and say hi anytime.
Yeah, that thing.
I'm from Florida originally. I'm near where they built the Gambler. So.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Man, those Gamblers when they're just sitting there, they look fast to me. I don't know. I mean, those are some bad looking boats. We used to fish on Allatoona. Gets a guy on Tuesday nights. He had one. I can't remember what color it was, but he had a Gambler, and I always thought those were sharp looking boats for sure. Hey guys, we're a little bit past the 9 o'clock hour. Kevin, do you have a question tonight for tonight?
I do.
All right, we're gonna do the question of the night real quick, guys. And Danny told me to tell y'all he will send you something if you win. So
A surprise gift. I like it.
Surprise gift, and the surprise not only in the gift of when you actually get it. So
Yeah, that's always been a surprise.
Yep.
So I'm gonna real quick before we do that, we've got. Let's see. We're gonna go with Eric's question of the best way to fish Allatoona right now. Will be the next question after Kevin's question of the night. So go ahead.
Ready?
Kevin. Yes, sir. When you're ready.
All right. My wife and I recently celebrated our 47th anniversary. How long in days did we date before we got engaged? And to help you with this answer, I'll give you a clue. It's less than 365 days. I'll read it again. My wife and I recently celebrated our 47th anniversary. How long in days did we date before we got engaged? And to help you with the answer, I'll give you a clue. It's less than 365 days.
All right. So can you guys
I'll be watching?
Can you watch through the answers? Okay. All right. So you guys got the question. Put it in the answers here. Y'all need to put them in there for sure, because otherwise Kevin's watching for us, because he didn't text me the answer, so that's gonna be a surprise to me too. So
I had to switch over to my phone, so I'm clueless. So
gotcha. Yeah,
we're gonna start calling this Kevin's Impossible Question of the Week. Gonna get a new title.
Right. So y'all, all right, Kevin, you see the answers rolling in, right?
I see him. Eric's on top of things.
Okay. All right. So let me get back up to his question. And Steve, what is your favorite way to fish Allatoona right now?
So if you were to ask me before I spent 2 weeks focused on Clark's Hill, I would tell you a Nico rig. I had great success with the Nico. I'd be fishing it on rocks. I know a lot of where the pre-spawn fish were. That's what I would start with. I would start with some of the points and that have some of the deeper water associated with it, that have a pocket close by, and it's somewhat protected. I don't want a lot of wind going through the pocket. I don't want a lot of waves hitting it. There's a lot of those around Stamp. There's a lot of those around McCaskey. But I'd run, a pattern that goes along like that right now. I'd start with that. The week before that, I'd be running rock crawlers. Right now, I'd probably even take a look at what I was doing on Clark's Hill and run these shallow crankbaits, find those rocky bottoms, running up into Stamp Creek, 5 fingers up in there, and just searching for that wherever the deep water is, close to some sort of a flat and some shallow water with that crankbait. That's what I would stick with. I probably wouldn't throw a topwater lure until May, probably beginning of May or so. And probably when the shad spawn really hits, then I'm switching over to a jerkbait.
Okay, that sounds good. I like it. And Patricia Leanne Shaw had a comment earlier. I'm gonna put it on here. We're talking about being a good co-angler and stuff. 2 rods, reels, and a shirt pocket full of lures. I remember hearing a guy talking about fishing some co-angler stuff, and he said he literally would take 1 rod, a reel, and a pocket full of shaky heads and worms, and that was all he would take because his goal was to learn from the boater, not to be.
We got a winner.
Who we got
You're
for the
kidding me, really?
Patricia Ann. She won it.
What you had? What was her answer?
Let me find it again. You went back too far. Let's see. Oh, I don't see it now, but she had it.
Hang on, let's see. She said she had one answer was 364.
No.
And then she said, let's see, I'm scrolling down. 7.
Right
2.
there it is.
2.
Patricia Ann Shaw won it with 2 days.
2 days.
We were dated 2 days and we got engaged.
I like it, Kevin. I like it. 2 days.
Well, I'll be.
And she was engaged to somebody else before me.
Uh-oh. We're learning about Kevin tonight, folks. We're learning about Kevin tonight. All right, Patricia Leanne Shaw, make sure you message Danny on Facebook, Danny Pruitt on Facebook, and he will get you your gift or your prize. We don't know what it is, so don't be surprised or don't be too shocked. And obviously, you can let us know on here one day when you get it. So, unfortunately, I don't know when that'll be.
Take a picture with it and post it on the Facebook page.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise for all of us for sure. Yeah. All right, and then she had another question. I thought, hang on, I'm trying to make sure. Oh, she wants to know, Steve, are you a sea rigger? Do you throw a Carolina rig?
I have thrown a Carolina rig. Grew up throwing them. I will throw it rarely right now. I had one tied on down at Clark's Hill. Lots of guys were fishing Carolina rigs at Clark's Hill. I chose a shallower bite. If the guy was going to go fishing deep, I would have definitely drugged the Carolina rig. Down there, the color seemed to be green, and guys were throwing 1 ounce weights on the Carolina rig.
Wow.
The color was basically this right here. The guys that were throwing Carolina rigs.
Red.
Yeah.
We get a lot of closet sea riggers. They won't admit to it, but they do throw it. But it's like they're scared to admit to it. And it's like, don't be ashamed. Throw it.
Throw it.
Yeah, I've been out with a couple of guys, even one of the guides that I mentioned earlier. They say, "Hey, Steve, don't tell anybody I just threw a drop shot, or don't tell anybody I just threw a Carolina rig." But guess what? You're catching fish with it, so
right.
They don't care.
Or the Ned riggers, they're like, "Hey, man, don't tell anybody I'm throwing a Ned rig. I don't want anybody to know."
Yep.
I guess I don't understand the embarrassment of it. I mean, I just don't like the Carolina rig, but I've got the kit in my boat, in my tackle box. I keep a full setup to tie one on if I need it. But I don't understand the hate of it because I'm like, if it's catching fish, I don't care. I don't care if I catch it on a clothespin. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like you said, I don't understand why people are like, "Well, I don't want anybody to know. Don't tell anybody." But I'm throwing a sea rig.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't grow up throwing a drop shot, so when I learned drop shotting a couple of years ago, I was excited. I was like, "Hey, this is fun. I can."
Yeah,
I mean,
it's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, my wife, that's how she got her first forward-facing sonar fish. She was like, "You mean to tell me I can watch them do this?" I'm like, "There you go."
That is a good bait for somebody to keep them from getting hung up. Is to give them a drop shot and say, "Look, just kind of keep tension on it and let that weight drag through there. That way, you're not back there trying to get them off and out of whatever they've gotten into.
Exactly. And Messick brings up a good point. You talked about the Nico rig earlier, and he says it's wild how fishing works. I caught all my weight off a Nico rig worm and a shaky head. I never picked up a crankbait Saturday or Sunday, and he's fishing up there where you're at, where you were fishing, Steve. So, you know, his was totally different bite, you know, depending on obviously where he was at or whatever. So, and you mentioned that as far as the Nico rig goes, being a good.
I walked out on my dock today about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's 2 boats sitting, you know, 50 feet away from it fishing, and both boats were fishing some sort of a worm, whether it be shaky head or Nico or whatever. And I asked one of them, "How's the day going?" They said, "Well," and this was about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They had 49 already, and looked at the other boat and said, "How you guys doing?" And I said, "Well, we're about the same," because they could hear them. So, you know, the fish are just rocking and rolling, and it's all plastics that the guys are using.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you just never know. I mean, you just got to figure out what's working for you for sure. Eric's got a question, and guys, if you got one, jump in there. I didn't mean to cut anybody off there. Is there a scope on that Gambler? If so, do you prefer to fish that way or more the old school way?
So I'm learning how to scope. I put a Mega Live on it 2 years ago. I looked at it like 8-bit technology. I couldn't see or understand anything on that. It was, I don't know why I put it on there. I was out there with Bill Payne, and he had the LVS 34 12-inch Ecomap. And I was like, wow, that's like looking 4K compared to what my Mega Live was. And I took my boatus check, and I put that on my boat middle of last year. And I think it's fantastic. And I have to admit, I have definitely caught fish that I've seen while I scope. And, you know, I think it's fun, and sometimes that's what I got to do in order to catch a fish. Yeah. However, I don't know how many times I sat on a spot looking at a fish, dangling something in front of it, and the fish will move to it, swim by it, but I don't catch it. And I spend so much time. I think I waste more time because I'm actively using scopes than I am fishing. Yeah. So I think there's advantages and disadvantages to use it. And I know that I wasted a lot of time trying to see how a fish is going to react. And I'm learning as I, you know, with experience, look at it and move on. Yeah. And I also, I'm a 100% believer that you run into ping fish. What I mean by that is they hear the ping.
Yeah, they're ping shy. You'll find a lot of them. You'll fan them, and you'll see them all of a sudden. A whole bunch of them just takes off.
Yeah, they'll like follow, they'll take off, whatever it is. And you know, I was out fishing Allatoona 2 weeks ago, and there was a school. I was catching them and didn't have my scope on at all. I turned the scope on. I wanted to see what was going on. All of a sudden, it took 25 minutes or so before the next fish would bite, and I had to turn the scope off for a while in order to make it happen. So I absolutely believes that there are fish that are sensitive to the ping and won't bite that lure. So I'd like to use it to see how fish will react. I like to see it as, hey, are there any fish here at all? Then I'll turn the motor in a different direction, or just turn the scope off and just fish.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's what is that thing they got for the front of the boat that you can make all kind of little bait fish noises? That's like a $500 or $600 little speaker thing. I'll think of it in a minute, but they've got those on the front of the boat. You tell me the fish gets used to that and hears that and thinks it's bait fish. They don't get used to hearing a ping. I mean, I believe I'm 100% with you. I
Definitely.
I mean, they can, you know, sound travels further in water, right? We all know that. So.
Georgia Scuba sponsors me in a lot of any charity tournaments. And, you know, the guy that owns that, he's a diver, and he says when he goes under a boat, he said he can physically feel that pulse. He said it's like your fingers popping, just whatever frequency it's on. He said you can feel it. And when he started explaining that, I'm like, well, that explains why sometimes when you fan around on these fish, they move because they felt something. And I'm sure those lateral lines on them are picking it up probably better than us humans would.
That's a good point. I never thought about that, actually feeling it like that.
Yeah, he said it's just the best he could describe was like just not snapping, but just thumping your fingers. He said it's a pulse.
It makes sense. Makes sense for sure. All right, Steve, we got to ask every guest gets asked this question, whether I'm hosting. I don't know who I'll ask it in the past. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
I believe in a lot of cryptids.
There you go. Okay. All right. I like it. We've got a different. I always say I love the stories. I don't necessarily believe all of them, but I love the story. I will go to the Bigfoot Museum every time I go by it. So I love it.
Definitely.
I love it. I love it.
So I have a friend. He lives in Marietta, and he's a comic artist, and he writes comics and draws comics about cryptids. And there's a cryptid that he writes about, and it's the big chicken. And this big chicken lives in Marietta in the caves that are attached to Lake Allatoona and a few other places. And it's one of the most fascinating things to see and then talk to him about. And it's a whole group of folks that will follow it and so forth. So yeah, I'm absolutely into the whole cryptid.
That's where our baits
cryptid.
go when we lose them on Allatoona, the big chicken gun.
Hey,
if you can't explain it, that's what happened.
there you go. Hey, I'm going to start using that excuse. I didn't get hung up. The big chicken stole it.
Big chicken's got it.
He's down there. I tell you.
I broke off on the big chicken. There you go. All right. JP Vern says on Clarks Hill, you got to learn to like the Carolina rig. I hate it, but when I fished that lake, it was great. So obviously it's a go-to lure for folks on the Clarks Hill area there.
I think some people just don't have the attention span to sit and rig one up. I think it's more of that. It's like it takes too long to rig it up. You got to fish it slow, and I'm like,
yeah.
If it works, it works. Sling it.
Yeah.
That's what happened on Monday. William Rader, he's a big Carolina rig, and that joker, he had 1 ounce slip sinker on that Carolina rig, and he was throwing it out, and it hit the water. It was like a 5 ounce umbrella rig was splashing in the water, and you had to go donksh, and a big splash. I'm like, did that not send every fish in the area screaming away or what?
It's got their attention. It
got their attention. Hey, he caught some fish on it, so. Absolutely, Carolina rig was something guys were catching fish with out there. And I think Tuesday morning when it got cold, there was some guys that did better on Tuesday than did on Monday, and there's guys vice versa. The guys that were Carolina rigging on Monday are the ones that caught some fish early.
Right. And going back to that hitting the water stuff, I was always you kind of thought that way, you want to make it a natural presentation or whatever. And then I started throwing those big glide baits and stuff. And I'm going, that thing hits like a dinner plate when it hits the water. There's nothing quiet about it, and catch fish almost instantly at times. So I think it's just about the mannerisms of the fish at that point. I don't think it always matters.
I think when you skip a lure and it ripples across the water for some reason, I think it just like naturally curiosity, or there's a dead bait fish flipping because
that's what it is.
It'll skip 4 or 5 times up under something, and the next thing you know, they're just like all over it. And maybe it's a predatory aggressive strike. I don't know, but
I've heard different people say, that the bass can see it coming through the air. They can see it skipping. They can, they can hear it. It's like you said, sounds like a bait fish or whatever. I've heard, I'm guilty of taking my lure if it gets a little grass on or something like that, and popping the water with it. That fish will, and as a matter of fact, we went striper fishing at Lanier, first time I'd ever been on Lanier, and they took out a broomstick and started pounding the boat, hitting the boat bottom, and you'd watch the striper on the screen nose up and come to that sound. So I mean, there's who knows why they do what they do.
I seen the old guy. He was brim fishing, and he stuck his hand in the water and just like swished it round and round, and all the little brim came out, and then he dropped like a little piece of dough ball down there and started snatching them up. And I'm like, okay, he called them up.
Never know.
Do you know the story of why those guys pound on the bottom of the boat?
No idea.
Why that calls them?
Please enlighten me, because I had no clue.
So
enlighten us.
So this is the story that I heard, and it's plausible, I think. So I was out with Syke. He's the local striper guide here on Allatoona, Allatoona Stripers.
Yep.
And he was telling me that, this is why the guys do it, where they grow the hybrids and then they bring them out here and stock the lake. Well, they have to feed them. And in order, when they go out and feed them, the pumps that pump the food out into it sound like a thump, 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 thump as they start to roll and shooting out food. So they get used to hearing the thump, 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 and they come to it because it's time to eat.
It's a learned behavior.
It's literally the Pavlov dog. It's Pavlov dog. It's all it is.
Exactly.
Well, listen, you might not learn anything tonight, but you've learned to go take a broomstick on your boat when you go fishing for striper. There you go. Yeah. Because who knew? Listen, all I know is it called the fish up, and I caught a 5-pound bass in the middle of the striper. That's the only thing I caught that day was a 5-pounder. So hey, I'll take it either way.
Hey, they run with those stripers. They know where the food's at.
But I'm telling you, we beat the bottom of that boat with a broomstick all day long, and it worked. It worked for sure. So Messick said he said he wasn't that far from you, Steve, when you went up the Little River. He was right before the bridge on the Savannah side fishing docks, but what he was seeing was the largemouth were moving out. So that's why he was with that Nico rig. He was having more luck with that Nico rig there.
Gotcha.
So there you
Okay.
go. Yeah.
There you go.
And then Eric, he got me. It's called the Hydro Wave. That's what it's called. I knew somebody would correct me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hydro Wave, yeah.
Yeah, guy I fish with off and on, he's got one. I couldn't remember the name. It's a little gray box up there, and it makes some
I got
awful
one.
sound. You got one?
I got one.
Oh,
It
there you
makes
go.
some weird sounds.
I've never been on a boat with one on there. I thought about buying one, then I saw what the price tag was, and I was like, I don't need anything making
It's a little
noise.
discouraging when you see how much it costs.
I mean, I
You'll
guess
hear
maybe
You'll hear it next Saturday, Tony.
there we go. Hey, we'll turn it on. We'll turn it on. We'll play them some music if nothing else, right?
Oh yeah, y'all gonna need it. I'm telling you, you're gonna need it.
All right. Eric's got a little more personal question, Steve. If you want to answer, if not, you can skip it. What pays for fishing, Steve? What do you do for a living? If you're able to say.
No, I'm a biochemist by trade and went to work in the business side. So I work for a company that makes and sells laboratory supplies and manage contract with a number of pharmaceutical companies and the CDC and so forth. So they buy them from my company.
Well, gentlemen, I don't know about y'all, but he is now the smartest man in the room. So
Absolutely.
Biochemist, what he said.
No
Like, all right.
contest.
We knew that before we started.
Exactly, right? Exactly. And I've got some more questions about some of the other lakes, but I'm trying to get through some of these guys' questions that have waited on us to answer them real quick. Eric wants to know one bait forever. What is the color, weight, and trailer, etc.? Steve.
One bait forever. If I could only throw one thing.
Correct.
That's the question?
Yep.
That's a hard question. I have to,
It is. It's a very difficult question.
You know,
There you
I'm probably going to throw something like shaky head. If I had to pick one thing out of the box that'll work for year round, I can probably throw a shaky head and catch fish any time of the year.
Right. There you go. That's a good one. That's always a good one. I always say it's the buzz bait just because I love a buzz bait, but I know about 60% of the year I ain't catching nothing with it. So, I mean, that's the only bad thing. But I do love throwing a buzz bait for sure. Kevin, have we ever asked you if you had to throw one for the rest of your life, what it would be?
Wouldn't be a spinner bait, but it would probably be a shaky head, but a spinner bait would be a close second.
Okay. Tim, what's yours?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, shaky head. Most of the fish I catch are on shaky head.
There you go.
And I don't throw it 100% of the time, but just by looking at my past, it's like, it always seems like if nothing else, I can pick a shaky head and start putting it places and start getting bit.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's definitely a staple in my boat for sure. But real quick, before we go much further, Kevin said spinnerbait, and it brought something to my remembrance here. So today I opened the mail and had a package in the mail, and it was 2 spinnerbaits from a gentleman that I met at the Cartersville Expo, the Noe Expo. And I just want to shout out and say thank you to Mr. Ronnie McDonald, and that is his name, Ronnie McDonald. I want to tell him thank you for sending that to me. I will definitely use them, and I will report back if I catch any fish on it. And that meant a lot to open a package up from somebody that, I had met through the show here and then through the, actually meeting them in person at the Noe show. So I really do appreciate that. Yeah, we got some messages on here talking about the thumper box works great for striper. If you're around a striper boat and they cut it on, you can watch the fish swim away from your boat to their boat. So we've learned a lot about thumping today on the boats. Oh, here you go. JP Vern says when his dad was fishing at night, crappie and hybrid fishing, he'd knock on a tobacco can out, knock the tobacco out of his pipe on the side of the boat, and then splash his rod. It always worked. So I like it. That's good. And then John G. Wilson says, thanks for stopping by, John. They do see the bait in the air too. I've made plenty of casts, and there will be a big swirl right before my bait hits the water. I think so, 100%. All right. This one's a good one. Patricia Leanne Shaw says her dad trained fish with the truck radio. Hey, yeah. But how many of you were told not to make noise when you're out fishing, right? Like, you gotta be quiet. You got to be quiet when you're fishing.
Oh, I got scolded so much when I was a kid. It's like, don't hit this. Don't splash the water. Why are you making so much noise on the boat? And, and it was like, I don't know. I'm 10. or 11 maybe. I'm a kid.
Be quiet.
Yeah, right. Just get back there and throw your little worm and hush.
Yeah, that was more for their piece than anything else, for sure.
Of course, people used to freak out. My Uncle Gene would throw me in the boat, and I was 10 years old, and this is back in like 1980. And he'd dump me off in the water, and I'd start that thing up and go pull over and pick him up. And you'd see grown men going, "Hey, there's a little bitty kid driving a boat." And I'm like,
Yeah. Hey, you might as well learn. That's the best place to do it.
He taught me when I started off with a trolling motor. He'd dump me in the water, and I'd drop the trolling motor and pick him up when he parked the truck. And then we graduated up to starting the big engine. Of course, back then, the big engine was like an 85,
Yeah.
Boat run probably 35 miles an hour. We thought we were flying,
Oh, yeah. Well, this is my granddaughter's 4. She'll be 5 this August, and this will be her first year on the boat. I'm hoping to get her started in fishing. So I'm gonna make sure she learns all the fun aspects of boating while she's out there, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta get them started soon. And Messick did say another thing he thinks that the thumping does, it makes the herring scatter. The next time you're around a bait tank, tap the side and watch the herring in the bait tank scatter around. So that's another, it may break up the schools of fish and stuff like that as well. And then Eric said he could tell you had some sales business in there somewhere, Steve. All right. Let's see. We got some different stuff here. Let's see. All right. So I'm gonna ask some selfish questions here, Steve, because I saw the stuff Danny sent to us about you a little bit about. You fished. You had some really good finishes this last year at some lakes that we all fish. Hartwell, Sinclair. You had West Point and Wedowee on there. So I'm going to be selfish on this question and tell us a little bit about what you may have learned about West Point and Wedowee, because I got a tournament in West Point here in April, and I don't know when you fished West Point, so it may not even be relevant to me, but I stink at West Point. So how'd you figure that one out?
I absolutely loved West Point. That was a 2-day. I caught so many fish. It was an absolute blast for me. I tell you, we started off hitting some points and so forth. And it didn't take too long. I was on a boat that didn't have any forward-facing sonar. I'm standing in the back of the boat, and I'm looking at the 2D, and I'm seeing these trees, and sunken trees. They're we're sitting in 30 foot of water, treetops at 15 or so, and I'm seeing fish all in the trees. And I picked up the A-rig, and I start throwing that over top of it, and I start hitting them left and right. Take a jerk bait and threw it over them, and did the same thing. And we found those channels. We would sit off to the side of a channel and throw to the other side, and let whatever rig, whether it be a jerk bait or an umbrella rig, just kind of go over top of the trees, drop it down in the channel, and then bring it up onto the other side and over the top. Somewhere in there, we would get hit by a spot, a large, a striper, a hybrid. I caught so many whitefish, it wasn't even funny.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, caught enough bass to score really well in a 2-day tournament, and for a co-angler, got first place. But it was just a constant fish for all. There was just so many fish out there, and it was just so much fun. I don't remember which the dock we went out of at West Point. It was sort of mid-lake, and we ended up going south and up into some of those creeks where the water got a little bit got a little bit skinnier, and just finding 20-foot creek channels with wood on both sides, and they were just hanging on that. And it was the fall. It was like an October or November type of a time frame. So I don't know what's going on out there right now, but I just like Lanier, take a look for the timbers, take a look for the creek channels, and see if you can find them on 2D or forward facing. What do you have? And they just sat on top of that stuff and ate and ate and ate.
Yeah, if you put in, go ahead.
That would be Beasley Creek with the
okay,
on both sides.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
You probably put in about Pine Road Park if you put in Mid-Lake. Pine Road Park, or
that sounds right.
Yeah.
109.
Pine Road's the big one. It's got the big building there at it and stuff.
Yep.
It's kind of the term.
That's the one that's exactly the one that we stopped at.
Yep. That's a good ramp to stop at if it's not busy with people. It was busy this last weekend, so I put in at Yellow Jacket. So all right, so with that, Wedowee, you finished really good at Wedowee as well. How'd you fare on that? How'd you like the lake, number one, and how'd you figure that one out? Because it sets up a little bit more like the Allatoonas and Lanier type fishing from what I could tell.
Wedowee felt like more like a river to me than anything else. When we went there, it was really dark, very stained, muddy type of water.
Okay.
The guys that did the best on the boaters side, they were cranking. They were up the river. They were doing the long running flats and shallow water and pockets and so forth. Everybody else, there was 2 tournaments going on at the same time, and everybody was going and doing that.
Right.
I was with a guy. We decided we were going to go to a place he had fished. And this is the other thing. It's a perfect storm for me. I've been lucky. Knock on wood. I don't think I can reproduce how lucky I've been. Pedro, he wanted to go fish a place where he had caught fish in the past, and it was the timber, and it was mid lake, not the bottom of the lake, but mid lake. And we started fishing the timber, and we found that they were thinking about spawning, sitting down on the bottom of the timber in 15 feet, 20 feet of water early, and I was dropping a Nico rig down on top of them, each one of those logs, and picking up a fish. At some point in time in the day, they moved up, and you start picking them off with a jerk bait. Move out a little bit and throw in the jerk bait and start picking them up that way. Everybody else was fighting all the other boaters up there in dirty stained water and fishing the same quarter mile of shoreline. And we had nobody around us. We picked up our limits, and it turned out to be a good day for us.
Yeah. So did y'all go south then?
Yeah.
Yes. So I fish Wedowee. That's what I call my home lake. And then my buddy Eric in the comments, he and I are fishing this weekend, and we're hoping I'm a south guy. I like going south because, like you said, you will go south. Everybody else will run up the river, and they'll be, and obviously when it starts getting warmer, you can't hardly fish it with all the pleasure boaters up there. But the south end is where I like to go, and got some good areas down there. You're right about the timber. You can start working a jerk bait over top of the timber and wear them out in the afternoons for sure.
Yeah, that was we picked up we were able to call enough fish in order to make our limits and improve and come up with a win there. So that was the jerk bait was really what made the difference, but filled the bag with the Nico rig.
Yep. Now, what time of year did y'all fish that? Obviously, probably close to this time.
Yeah, that was our February.
Okay.
Trip.
Yep, it's a good lake, and we got JP Vern said he loves Wedowee, and then Eric's. He and I are fishing it this Saturday. Fish for the fall on this Saturday on Wedowee. Come out and meet your favorite host. Oh, he said me. Yeah, you can come out and meet me if you want to. That's fine. But come out and fish for a good cause. It's going to be a fun one for sure. And then Turkey Creek, Patricia Leanne Shaw, Turkey Creek, Carolina rig, 10-inch purple worm. So Turkey Creek, that's West Point, I think.
So she's a sea rigger. Okay.
Yep. And then see that's what that's what the locals call it, Turkey Creek. And that's down there. If I'm not mistaken, Patricia, correct me if I'm wrong, that's off of Weehawkee, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. I don't know West Point, all the stuff, all where everything's at down there. That was a good one. So, all right, we're gonna change gears again just a little bit, because I want to know a little bit more about the TBF. How did you get started with that? Like what got you into that part of it? Because that's a little bit different than the club stuff, right?
So TBF is the history of TBF. It started back in 1970, and it's the longest running federation, Bass Federation group. It's focused on sportsmanship again, conservation, and youth work. So all things that I felt are pretty important. As a club, you pick the top fishermen from the club, and you get to go to the next level to the TBF. So it truly is a club centered program. So Marietta Bassmasters is one of 23 or 26 clubs that are associated with the TBF. And so this was sort of the Georgia Super Bowl for all the clubs this past weekend. So it was something that all the clubs, Marietta Bassmasters does every single year. Being part of the club, it was sort of like if you're in that top 3, you're going to go. And I was going to go with some of my bets, my really good friends, and we're going to go fish it. So there was a no-brainer. I found that that was the biggest tournament that I've ever been in, as far as how professionally it was done. How many people were from around the state that were there. I thought it was really well run. Quentin Peavy runs the place extremely well. He's a great president of the group. The board is all volunteer that run it. The folks at the scales are all volunteers. The TD is a volunteer, and everybody really cares. It was people there with their individual teams, and it was a family type of atmosphere, and it was competitive at the same time. And you get to meet and introduce yourself and learn a lot of things from everybody else's way of fishing there at Clarks Hill. So I'll do it again. This is my first time. It was my first experience with it. And I have nothing but positive things to say about it. It's an experience that, especially if you win, for sure, I found it to be an excellent experice.
So your first time fishing in the TBF and you win the co-angler position, it's kind of you're kind of there's no going up from there because you're already the winner. I mean, at that point, no, I'm just joking. That's a pretty good showing though to go out there and win it your first time out.
I tell you, rookie luck. Like I said, it was the perfect storm of the situation that happened for me. But yeah, rookie luck.
So with that, so how many would you say are there, and I'm going to use this term loosely here, professional co-anglers that show up to that? And I say professional, that's all they do is co-angle and they get into that, or were there a lot of guys that were maybe rookies to being a co-angler, or were there a lot of just guys that just did it all the time?
I think there's a combination of all of it. I didn't get to meet all of the co-anglers. I know some, they're a co-angler now and they'll always be a co-angler. We'll call that a professional co-angler, but there's reasons for it. Yeah. Whether they don't have a boat or physically owning a boat and doing that is something outside of their capabilities. Here's one of the stories. This guy's been doing a co-angler for a long time, and his name's Bob Williams. And Bob's really well liked by, I found out, everybody there. And Bob comes into the end of day one with 8.6 pounds. I come in day one with 8.6 pounds. Bob and I, we are tied for third place going into day two. I've never met Bob before in my life. Didn't even know who Bob was until day two. I'm standing at the ramp waiting for my boater, and Bob gets dropped off. Bob, happy birthday to you. Bob just turned 69 this week, so maybe he's watching and so forth.
Happy birthday, Bob.
And Bob walks up and he goes, yeah, I'm in tied for third place. And at that point in time, I hadn't seen the scores from day one. And I said, oh, really? What did you get? And he said 8.6. And I knew that's what I got. And he said he was tied. And I was like, do you have the scores there? He says, yeah, look, here are the scores. Well, I'm Steve McGrogan. Am I on there? It's like, yeah. Oh, I'm tied with you. Bob, oh, yeah, you're tied with me. So we got to meet each other in that way. And that's what he does. He's a co-angler. That's what he does. Physically, he's not able to do some of the other things, but he's a fantastic guy and he's a great fisherman. Now, the part that's really strange, I told you the hammer in our group, Brent. Brent pulls up with his boat and he goes, hey, Bob, is that you? And Bob's like, oh, Brent? Yeah. And I'm like, son of a gun. Bob, who I'm tied with, is going to go fish with, 10-time, GBF winner, and he's going to go out with Brent for the day, and he's going to fish with him. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to be on the fish all day long. And I know Brent, he's out there, he's going to catch fish, and he's going to get this guy on fish. And I'm going, oh no, what am I going to do here? And Bob comes in on day two, fishes with Brent all day. And he comes up, I think, with 8.3, and I come home with 9.9. Bob got second, I got first, and Bob and I are friends now. That's awesome. That's the type of stuff that happens there at the boat ramp and with the co-anglers and so forth. It's a group that gets along, and yeah, there's people that have been doing it. There's reasons for them to be doing it. There's some hammers there that are co-angler, and because a team wants to have a winner on both sides, angler and boater. And all that's just fine. I mean, it's competition and it's big league when you're talking about the whole state.
Right. Well, that's definitely huge considering it's the whole state involved in it for sure.
Mm-hmm. For
sure. Eric wants to know, do you have any plans to move up to like the Phoenix BFLs or anything like that as a co-angler?
Man, I'm one step at a time. Right now, I'm looking at doing the semifinal for TBF. That's going to be coming up in September. It's going to be at Toho Kissimmee, end of September. The only issue is that my club is looking to go to the GBN on Chateau the same weekend.
Oh,
So I've got a little bit of a decision to make here to go by myself down to Florida and co-angler and do that semifinal or fish with my crew, the GBN. And, you know, if lightning strikes twice and become a Dylan Nutt type of a situation,
hey,
because that's how he got through.
Yeah, so that's exactly. I was going to ask earlier, and I meant to ask that question. So this was obviously state level. Then you just said there's a semifinal. I'm sure there's a final whatever that goes into it. So you kind of answered my own question there. So you go to fish Kissimmee. Is that the last step, or do you have to go again to another final?
No, the GBF, the Georgia Bass Federation, is the first of 47 federations that are part of the TBF. There's like 6 or 7 regions. Our region is the South region, and that includes Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and so forth. We just had the Georgia playoff. So now it's going to be the Region 1 playoff, which is going to be everybody, the Florida, Georgia folks. So that's the semifinal. And then, all the other regions are doing the same thing. And then the last piece is going to be the finals. And I'm not sure when and where that's going to be. So yeah, there's, it's just like playoffs in football. You've got group. So, we definitely got 2 more wins in order to get there.
I mean, Steve, you said the Kissimmee chain. Is it Toho or
Toho?
Can you lock in the other chains as well? There's one lock to get down to Cypress and then Hatchinahall and then Kissimmee. Can you use those 3 lakes as well?
I don't know the rules, to be honest with you. I just learned where it is on Tuesday night.
Toho used to be my home lake. So if you
go,
okay. Let me know.
Okay. I will.
So I know you've got some decisions to make. What would be a deciding factor either for or against doing that event? I mean, I know you want to go hang with your pals up there at Chattooga, and man, Chattooga is one of those places I want to get to eventually, but what's that deciding factor that goes, yep, I'm going to do it, or no, I'm just absolutely not going to take that trip?
I'm going to throw a curveball at you tonight.
Uh-oh.
I asked love of my life, Beverly, to marry me this year.
Congratulations.
And my fiance, who is super supportive of all this fishing and everything like that, we have a date circled of October 4th. And looks like it's going to be on Lake Allatoona and so forth. When I went and told her on Tuesday, hey, this is the next step, she looked at me and said, well, if that's what you want to do, great. But aren't we planning a wedding that weekend? So, I may end up, deciding factor may end up being I need to stay local, do the GBN, and get back home in order to do all the festivities, because I have family coming in and all that kind of stuff. So that might be the deciding factor, but I haven't decided yet.
That's an easy decision.
I was gonna say,
that's an easy decision.
I'd go fishing.
I got married at the Watkins farm. The people that were on earlier, I got married on Lake Notley there in their backyard. They have a beautiful view of the lake.
I forgot about that, Tim.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's definitely one of those events you can't miss. I mean, that's kind of your.
Tony hit the bad button.
Tony.
He probably. You good?
There he goes.
It just said, "Oops, reconnecting." I don't know.
It happens.
We couldn't have a night where it never.
If it went too smooth, I would be scared to death that the whole thing didn't even broadcast, and we talked for 2 hours and nobody saw it. I mean,
my daughter says every time, she goes, Dad, I don't know how the internet knows that you're going to be on the show. She said, but every time you get on, the internet craps out. So I figured it was
upped my speed here on this big computer that's sitting in front of me, and you saw tonight, it was just crap. So I got my phone stuck up on this little stand that's got the light on it, and it's working fine. I don't understand.
I'm fixing to invest in one of those. What is it? Starlink satellite deals. I'm gonna get the mobile one so I can take it on the boat with me. But I'm gonna invest in one and just have it that
You're
way.
gonna
I'll
need
be
a bigger boat with all the stuff you get.
I know. No, hey, listen. When I was at the Classic, I saw one of the guys come by. It's in one of the videos I did, and he's got it mounted back there, kind of where the power poles are at. It's up in the air about 3 foot, and it's the Starlink. I thought that's pretty cool. But you're talking about expensive, man. That's like $160 a month.
Pricey.
No, not doing that. Not doing that. And then Tim asked a question. Did you guys see the smallmouth on Allatoona that was caught?
Yeah.
I did not get to see that.
Yeah, that's legit. Extreme Stripers caught it. Cy Grayar. I don't know. I'm probably tearing his name to shreds, but one of his clients caught that thing down there near the blockhouse of all places.
Really? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was it
Alex?
It's been sent off to Georgia biologists. I mean, they're going to check it out. I mean, they tried to stock them, I think, from what I understand, researching it in Allatoona at one time.
That's what
But
Alex
who
said.
in the heck would have thought you'd have got a smallie that far down south of the lake anyway?
I didn't even know there was a possibility. So that's a good thing, I guess. Okay. JP says he knows a guide. I don't know why comments are being so slow to pull up. I know the guide who caught that smallmouth on a trip. Looking forward to hearing back what the biologist.
Yeah, that's Cy with, I think, Extreme Stripers. He made some posts. I think we shared it. Several people shared it to the page. Yeah. But it looked like a healthy fish. I mean, it didn't look like it was poor or in any bad distress or anything. I mean, it looked perfectly healthy, and it was straight up a smallie.
Wow. Yep. That'll be interesting to see. And then Patricia says you ought to go in that gambler. If the comment will pull up, you ought to go as a boater in that badass gambler. They'd be jealous.
Nah, she's not wrong.
There you go.
Yeah, I do get a few looks. I get a few comments, and I get some people singing the gambler song when I'm out there. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. And then Critter and Chaz Fishing, he says, what's up, guys? I got married at a farm with a bass pond. So there you go. Exactly.
It's a way to go. Memories, man. Memories.
Hey, you got to do it. I mean, you got to do what you got to do for sure. My first marriage, I got married at a golf course. So we all do something. The second one, I did in the front room of somebody's house. I was like, not spending any money on this one. And that one I've been married for 22 years now. So we'll take it. We'll take it for sure.
We had plans to go somewhere real nice, and we were up when we had the tackle shop, and Tony and Kay Watkins were like, "You use our backyard."
Yeah.
And then Danny's like, I'm ordained. I can marry you guys, and I don't know why you haven't asked. And then I kind of felt like I asked. I'm like, so a wedding manifested one night before the Livewell podcast, and there here we are.
Yeah,
nice.
It sure did.
All right, Steve. I got two final questions. Unless you guys got any other questions, I got two real quick questions. Well, they may not be real quick, but it's ones I want to make sure we ask before we get off the show tonight. Sure. Number one, how does somebody join Marietta Bassmasters if they're interested in joining? Because it sounds like a really good club, and some of us are looking for clubs to get back into. So how would somebody go about joining the Marietta Bassmasters?
Marietta Bassmasters is very easy to get a hold of. MariettaBassmasters.com, or go on to Facebook. There's phone numbers for Tony Reinhardt. He's our president. Make a contact with him. If my link is on here, if you want to contact me, the steps to become a member are really simple. We give you a list of the sort of the bylaws and the information. You attend 2 of our monthly discussions, our meetings that are on the phone, and go to 2 tournaments with us, and then you get voted in. It's very easy. It's just one phone call, express some interest, and see how you work out with the guys. If you like
Sounds
them,
like a great group of guys.
I tell you, it's guys have been fishing for a long time. Tony's has been president for a few years of this club. He was a president down in Florida for a few years for another club. He's a fantastic guy and a great angler. We got John and Scott and a few others. Just a wealth of experience, successful, have been to GBN, been to TBF, just fantastic. Can't say enough. Like I said earlier, and it has changed my outlook on fishing and my world. And I can't imagine not doing it with these guys.
So you can join as a boater and you can join as a co-angler, correct? Like you can be either or.
Yes. So if you can be a co-angler or a boater. You just as long as you fill out all the paperwork and you have the insurance and whatnot for your boat and
Right.
so forth. And that's pretty simple. And if you come up to a tournament, hey, my boat's down. I want to do this tournament as a co. Absolutely no problem.
That's
Hey,
outstanding.
I've got my boat, and it's, hey, we're fishing Allatoona next month. And I know my Allatoona. I want to be the boater on Allatoona, and they'll let us do that as well. So it's flexible that way, and it's great because there's a random draw on who the boater and the co-angler is going to be. So you're guaranteed to fish with somebody new. You get lots of experiences and see the because everybody's different. And I fish it a little bit differently. So no, it's a great group of guys. And if anybody's interested in just learning or being a part of that group or working your way through the TBF, and have the ability to have a room with a bunch of guys at these different places, different tournaments, it's definitely a good way to go. Give us a call.
Good deal.
Happy to talk to you.
I like it. It definitely is something I'm interested in for sure. Cause y'all fish all different kinds of lakes. It's not, so was the West Point Wedowee with those through the Marietta Bassmasters? Was that the?
Yeah, that's Marietta Bassmasters.
Okay.
All the basically any lake roughly 120 miles or maybe a little bit more around. They'll do the Southern Tennessee chick and so forth.
Okay.
The Wedowees, Eufaula might be a little bit further, but they'll do a Eufaula. Clarksville is probably on the outside as far as how far we would go. But yeah, every month is a different one. I think the only lakes that we'll double up on might be Lanier and Allatoona each year. But no, every lake every month is a different lake. And I thought I would hate it, to be honest with you. I thought, going to all these lakes, trying to figure out, no, it makes you better fishermen.
Yeah.
You are sitting there looking at what you're doing and trying to figure it out.
Yeah, my experience with doing a club tournament was boater and partner was a team trail, and we were going to all these different lakes, which was great, but neither one of us had fished them. So like we were completely lost. It was like, because it wasn't a co-angler, like you didn't get a random draw. It was the same two guys in the boat every time. And I'm going, we're driving 2 hours to fish a lake neither one of us have ever been to. So
yeah, you got to figure it out fast.
There's no pre-fishing it because like I said, 2 hours away. So for sure.
That's going to be me on Notley next week. I have never kicked a boat off the trailer in that lake. So it's going to be like, hey, where are we going?
Yeah, exactly. All right. So the last question I've got, and it's going to kind of lead us out of this episode for what we've kind of been talking about. Any parting advice for somebody that wants to get into being a co-angler that you would say, all right, this is what you need to look at. This is the mindset you need to have. Whatever advice you want to give somebody that's looking to do what you just did.
First off, you walk into it and you got to know you're going to be flexible. You got to be adaptable. You pack some things to, deal with any type of circumstances. Pack light when you get on the boat. Treat the boat like it's the boat captain's or the boaters, golden chicken, golden rooster, whatever, golden goose, should I say? Treat it with respect. Treat them with respect. I walk into it and saying, hey, how can I help you? And the better experience you have them have, the better experience you're going to have. And just follow along. You give advice when they ask, and go have fun, fish. That's the most important thing. Just fish.
Go fishing. And then I know something I've seen brought up in comments before on other platforms. Do you offer gas money at the end?
I absolutely do. Some will take, some won't. In our club, it's $50. It's just a standard, so you don't have to ask. There's no question or anything. It's just $50, and the boater has to drive 120 miles with the boat. They got to put that much gas into it. You guys fill your boats up. I know how much it costs me to fill my boat. $50, definitely helps, but it ain't 50% of the cost.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, people don't realize me with diesel fuel for the truck and then gas for the boat. I mean, you're paying probably more than the entry fee sometimes just on fuel to get there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Get back home.
Yeah.
Especially today. I mean, nowadays prices is horrible.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So, and like I said, if it's been a great day or something like that, or we really, we went 15 miles or something like that, throw in some extra. Make it useful. I went out with Brunt, and he said, I got to get gas in the boat. I put my card into the gas pump and said, all right, fill it up. And yeah, you spend a little bit extra, but oh my God, that type of stuff makes it so much better when you fish with them again.
Yeah.
And that's just the way to treat people.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think that's the great advice. All right, guys. I appreciate every one of y'all tonight. Y'all have been awesome. Steve, thank you so much for the information. Like I said, it's it gives me some thoughts for joining the club again for sure. I mean, and even considering a co-angle position, to be quite honest, because that's one of those things I need to do. I need to jump in a boat with some folks and learn some different lakes, and that's what it's all about. So
this is the way to do it. This is the way to learn it.
For sure. Well, I appreciate y'all guys in the chat. Thanks for stopping by with us. As Danny would always say, if you're going fishing, be safe this weekend. I'm going to be on the lake Saturday myself, so y'all be safe. Wear your life jackets and keep a watch out for each other. If you need anything, reach out to us on Messenger or anything like that. Steve, thanks for stopping by. Tim, Kevin, guys, I appreciate it. Y'all have a good evening. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too.